Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Look at that on the floor. In the last episode, we finished up the trans tunnel, got it all painted up, got the cab mounts secured, new bolts, all 4 of them, got the front clip on, got the wheels on. Looks good, doesn't it? Go ahead and show you everything. We had to trim the fender lip, that way we can get some nice clearance right there. Both sides. We're gonna go ahead and trim up the hood. We test fitted it already, and there's a lip that I'm not comfortable with. Yeah, you can kind of see it in there. I want as much room as possible for them wheels. I don't need them rubbing. But yeah, it's laid out. We're getting close. We'll have to cut out this bed. We're going to do a raised bed floor, I believe. And then we can have this thing whole. It'll be a roller. But it looks good. Let's get some more angles of it for you before we get back into it. Over here on the side. Look at that. Seats are in, just set into place for now. We'll bolt them down, or I'll make a bracket. I had to figure that out first. You can see here, there's a huge gap, but for now I need to set a spacer there, so this is in here and closed off, so when I start grinding and cutting that bed up, that seat don't get dirty. But it'll stay in there. When I go to make the brackets, they'll be smaller than the piece of 2x4 the side. So it'll be like an inch spacer, maybe. Or we can modify the bottom of that bench seat, and then the seat would actually be able to go back down to stock height. There's a crossbar goes across it. It can be modified and shaped for the shape of the hump. And then, like I said, the seat will go back down. So now we need to do some rearranging. We'll get everything rearranged how we like it and go from there. Next, we can figure out the bed. We need to figure out what we're doing. Are we gonna raise it? Is it gonna trap door? What material is being used? And all that. So I need to get with the customer, find out what he would like to do, and then we can go from there. We still need to put on this bumper check it to see if the mounts work. I haven't done that yet. Remember, this build, or this frame, was built by another shop. So I'm just picking up the pieces and making it a roller for the customer. It looks really good on the floor. That bumper put on and the hood will complete the front end so much more, but that bed, man, getting that bed on there is really gonna make it look good. All right, so we'll sit right there, take a little break, and we'll get a game plan going. Figure out, like I said, what we're doing, what material we need, and then we can get started. I do know, I was informed that the bed mounts need raised. That's why they were not fully welded when I welded everything in. It's only welded from where they did. The inside over here was not welded, and there's no hole to mount them for either one. So we got to figure that out as well. But we'll get with the customer, and we'll get it figured out, and we'll get right back on it. Cut the bed, just the start of it. Still need to cut the tubs out. And I'll do some measuring. I'm not sure if we're gonna go ahead and cut out all the sides all the way or not. But the tubs definitely have to come out. These sit taller than the tubs. And they sit wider. I have to cut into that lip. I have to cut into that 1.5 inches. So we'll start with getting these two tubs out next. I still need to trim for the hood underneath each side of the lip. And then before I do that, I need to take that piece of airline and swap it out with that one. Unplug the T and route that in front so I can have air in front of the grill for when the hood's on. Not much more left on this truck. We're not doing anything with the bed. All we're doing is cutting enough modifying any brackets that need modified, and mounting it. And we're done. And we're gonna go deliver it down south. Cut those pieces out in manageable sizes, that way I can handle them. It'll look good with that bed on. Let's see if we can get in a shot. There we go. Sit nice and low. This one's been a long journey. A lot of work in this one. Next, we'll go ahead and test fit the bed. It won't fit because I need to cut up higher, but we'll go ahead and take the wheels off, set them aside, and then I need to test fit the bed so I can make sure all the bed mounts line up in the front and rear. Gonna have to raise those mounts. I'm not gonna cut them off. I'm actually just gonna make a little raised platform for them. But before we do, I'll mark and make sure that's what they need. My measurements show they do. But I'll take the wheels off, set the bed on there, make sure and mark, like I said, where it mounts. If I need to make any plates, any mounts that go to the bed, I will. And then we'll go ahead and mark where the center of the axle is. That way I can go ahead, while this is on the floor, we'll take it back off. I could set it on the floor. The back's on jack stands, but I'll get it lower. I'll measure this height and get the back jack stands where that is. And then we can set the wheel in there next to it and start scribing it. Once we scribe it, we can cut it, get a little room around it, both sides, and we can get it on. I also need to get some numbers because that cross member, when I put a level across these two spacers, it hits that drive shaft. So I'll have to notch that. We'll cut a little 45 over and a little 45 in the bed brace. And we'll get this bed on. That much closer to being done. First test fit, got more to cut. I've got a notch very slightly for the drive shaft, like I said, but I wanted to know how much. It's not bad, but it definitely needs notched. Truck is aired out, needs to go down 1/4 of an inch, so I'll cut half of that. I'll cut half that height out of there. Around it, I'll mark the center, and then we'll go over the same amount as the drive shaft or something. But I need to add 1-inch spacers. I went ahead and measured. And then back here, it's catching on that lip right there. So I'll go ahead and cut that out. I'll put a mark on there. And we'll get this bed off and get it to where it'll clear. That way we can go ahead and test fit it again. I will more than likely go ahead and we'll cut the spacers to raise up the mount. And we'll see, I believe I marked them. I know I marked them, but we'll see where the hole is and go from there. I might make a plate to weld across here because that ain't the greatest hole. So I may use the plasma. That side's a square hole, but this side's not. I'd really like to make a whole plate to go across the whole thing. So we'll see. But we'll get it off first and go from there. Because I need to test fit it and make sure and see what kind of spacers, if anything, I need for back here and how we're going to mount that up. So unfortunately this will come off and go back on again. But that bar isn't so bad. Here you go. Here's a little teaser shot. went ahead, as you saw, and slid in the little spacers. Those little guys will get welded in when the bed comes off. Got one on each side. And then back here, I'm making some plates. This will kind of sit down there, and then this is what's gonna go, here, let me show you. This is what's kind of gonna go like this. I'll have to drill a hole into it. It'll go up from that lip down there, up onto the frame, and then I have that much space until it hits this floor lip. And when I put a bolt through here, I don't want it to be doing this type of stuff where you can squeeze it and there's flex. So what I come up with is we're gonna make this solid. You got one space. It's backwards. Where's that bevel? There it is. So you got one spacer, it's gonna go in here. And we have another one. And the final one. And what that'll do is make a nice flat surface for that bed to rest on the bed floor as well. So when this gets bolted down, nothing will get sandwiched, like something like that. And once we get all that done, I'll take it off after I get them tacked in. We'll get them tacked in enough to where I can take the bed off, set it up on the stands again, and then I can fully weld those in. Then we'll take it off the stands and probably put it on the floor so I can start cutting out for the wheels. And then while the bed's off, we'll go ahead and drill the hole for the mount, for the bolts to be able to go all the way through that hole you see. I also made, that's what these plates are for. These are going to, man, that focus is really weird. We're gonna take these and they're gonna be set up here like this until he figures out what he's doing with the bed floor. If I had it longer, I'd probably be cutting all that out and new support. And ain't nothing wrong with that support, just the top side is ugly. But I believe he's doing a raised floor, so that won't get seen. I'm not sure yet what's all getting done later on. Just doing my part. And I'm not gonna weld that in case someone decides to redo that or however. So we'll go ahead and weld those up and then get them tacked in. I don't know how well the camera angle is gonna be for y'all. It's a tight fit down there, but we'll see. Hey, if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. Turn on notifications. That way you get notified with the new content I got coming in. This one's leaving. This is the last video for this one. Once I get this bed mounted, space cut for the wheels for it to lay out, we'll clean up the edges underneath that hood, get it set on. It's done. Be taking it down south. show you what we got going on. These are a little thick, 1/8 inch. That's fine. Let's crawl down here into the bed. We're not rebuilding this bed, making it work. And when you put pressure on this, it flexes a little and this kind of twists because they cut out. People before me put in a gas tank from another vehicle and it sat right here in the frame. So they cut the underbed support bar and whatever support that was back here. So we have this just tacked in. I'll clamp that down tighter and whatnot. But these, I decided, that's backwards. I decided it's gonna have a flange on it. That way it's a little, but it's gonna go in somewhat like this. I may have to do a little bit of trimming. Oh, put my camera up there. I have to do just a tad bit trimming on that edge right there to the left and maybe even the right. But this is gonna tuck up in there and then it's gonna sit up and go between these two. And that way it'll keep this, each end from twisting. I have one for each side. I have one for over there as well. So we'll get the camera set up as best as I can, get some things cleaned up, get these tacked in, and then weld everything in. Once we do that, we can set this bed on the floor, grab some wheels, and start marking where to cut. Once we cut that and get that how we want it, we can go ahead and bolt this bed down. And the bed's done. The only thing left is that hood up there. I want to trim it to get it on for the ride home. All the welding is done. Got these guys welded on. Little spacers. Little slot for them as well. When I put them on, after welding them to the truck, not everyone's perfect. Realized I never welded the little riser tabs to the plate. So we had to do some underhand welding, which it all looks good. Yeah, that focus is terrible. All right, whatever. Also went ahead and got these plates welded in. Oh, let me get under here. We got these guys in. I actually need to get, let's see if this thing will focus. There you go. Got that welded in. I actually need to get the welder back out and weld in here. Totally didn't even see that. We need to weld these. So we'll pull the welder out, get those welded in, and then the welding will be done. And like I said before, we'll get this bed on the ground, and then we'll start marking and cutting it. It's, crawling in and out of there is not fun, but we'll do what we gotta do. Then we can set the bed on, get the blocks out from underneath the truck. I have blocks and jack stands under it right now so we can access it, as you saw, so I can get down underneath the center. Very, very tight fit, but you do what you have to do. Just a reminder, this one will be gone, and you want to check out my other projects, hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications for me. And if you'd like, go ahead and share this video. Let's get the views up on it. Bed's on, almost done. Next, we can go ahead and put some air in the bags. Go ahead and take the blocks off from underneath it and lay it out. The bed's bolted down and where it needs to be. And then here in a little bit, we'll go ahead and pull the bags off the wheels and show you what it looks like done. Everything's trimmed out. You can put the batteries in without anything touching. It's up to the customer if he wants to cut any more out. That's as far as I'm cutting, because the bed braces connect to right there at a 45 at the end of there. So I wanted to leave the bed braces there to give it a little bit of support. But my part's almost done. All I gotta do now is trim up that hood a little bit, because I want that hood on there before we're done. It's been a long journey for this one. That's 2 leaving this month, back to back. All right, let's go ahead and air this thing out. Take it all in. Look at that. That looks good. All right, just a little bit more trimming in the bed. The ring's bolted down. Gaps are good. Nothing's touching except for one little spot right there. You can just see it just right there. So I'll scribe that and make sure the gap's the same on both sides. This one clears it, but just barely. So we'll go ahead and trim them both a little bit. Bed's mounted. All the brackets are good. Now I just need to trim and get that hood on, and we can take it home. Well, take it to its owner. So let's go ahead and get that knocked out. We'll get those 2 spots trimmed. I won't have to remove the bed or nothing, just air it up real good. And then I gotta trim that hood. And then we'll be back to get a final view of it with the hood on it and everything. And that looks really good. Let's do one more pass around. I'm just gonna step in my dirt pile. That's why I hate piles, as you saw. I swept up so the hoist wouldn't get caught up. But man, this is it's looking good. How many lugs? Almost all the lugs tuck in. Come out really nice. Owner had a vision, and there it is. There's that vision. All right, let's go ahead and get the last of this trimmed up and get this finished so we can get this down to them, South Florida. Done. Looks really good with that hood on. The bed on. It's all complete now. Still needs a bumper, still needs a rear bumper, still needs some other things. But the customer's gonna take care of that. My part is done. Like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and take this down. We'll get it up on the trailer and take it down to South Florida. Looks really good. Get some center caps on there. Came out really nice. Gaps look good. Body lines look good. We had to tag it. one's been a fun one. I'm excited to see what the customer does with the bed and the motor. Get everything all finished up. Look at that body line, looks good. All matches up really well. I'm happy with the way it came out. Been a long journey, but the vision my customer had really looks good. We got the gap, we went ahead and trimmed, so there's plenty of gap there. Tubs can be factory style, or they can do round ones and do some fill in. Yeah. But my part is done. Yeah, came out really good. Oops. These older ones, you gotta give it a little more oomph to shut them. Looks really good though. So that's it. You can see where I added the airline. So now you don't have to open the hood to try to air it up. That'll make it a lot easier for us to load it up on the trailer. And I'm not gonna film us taking it down south or anything, but it's done. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscriber button for me. Subscribe to the channel, share this video, and thanks for watching.